Welcome to this episode of CynSpeaks. In this episode, we are going to talk about the importance of being an understanding person and seeking to understand somebody else before you are trying to be understood. So, pretty much the concept of understanding is so important because so often we look at somebody else's situation or listen to their opinion and judge it right away before we seek to understand how they came to where they're at, whether that be a perspective or just a life situation. And the difference between leading with judgment and leading with understanding is so significant that it can change the entire track in which your life is going down. And it helps you to be and grow into a person that is either a contributor or a hindrance in somebody else's journey. So if you are dealing with somebody else that has, for example, a religious opinion that differs from yours, you may have the desire to judge that opinion right away just because it's different. And that difference could potentially be the reason why you two were brought together in the first place. Because when somebody has an opinion that's different from ours, it creates polarity and it creates a situation where we must look within. And anytime life puts you in a space that requires you to look within, that is a blessing, because that is an opportunity for you to grow into a better and more developed version of self. So instead of seeing some of these situations where you are being expected to be understanding as a hindrance or as a burden, try to see that as a blessing and an opportunity to grow your knowledge from where it is to somewhere deeper. Now, the topic of religion is very sensitive to a lot of people, but the more that you understand where that originated and how that perspective was developed, you just can't judge it. I don't think you should judge anybody's religious perspective regardless of what it is or how they developed it, but the fact that it's different from yours is actually pretty awesome, because you can't learn as much from people that think exactly the same as you. So imagine if this world was full of people who looked and acted and thought exactly the same. How boring of a space would it be? So it's pretty awesome that we live in a world where we are so different and there is such an extreme range of people that we get to learn so many things from all of these amazing people. So that religious perspective, I think the first thing to remember is respect. So when you're in a situation where your opinion is different from somebody else's, the first thing you have to do is respect the fact that their opinion is theirs and that they're entitled to that opinion. And although that opinion may be different from yours, that doesn't make it wrong. Let that sink in a bit, because I know a lot of people that deal with others that have opinions that are extremely different from their opinion, and that other opinion is judged just because it's different. And I think that's very unfortunate, because the second you judge and you close yourself off to listening to the other person's opinion, you have then stifled your own growth. You have then stopped yourself from growing and evolving into a better version of yourself, which is really sad. So if for no other reason than your own growth, it's really important that you simply respect the opinion of the other person, because that opinion didn't come out of nowhere. People don't just form opinions out of nowhere, generally speaking, not about something like religion. Either they were groomed to believe what they believe, which is probably the most common, or on the other side of the coin, if they have broken free from a religion that they were taught growing up, it's probably because they've learned about something else that aligns more with their soul and something that feels better within them. So respecting the fact that they came to that opinion somehow, some way, and that's a part of their journey, has really nothing to do with you. That's number one. So you must respect the opinions of others, the perspectives of others, the experiences of others, and the space that other people are in. You just have to respect that because it's theirs. And if you turn the tables, if somebody comes to you telling you what you believe is wrong, you're going to likely find offense to that, because how can somebody else tell you what you believe is wrong? That's just unfair. So understanding that their perspective is theirs, because they have an opinion that's different than yours, doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it different. And that's huge. That comes with the respect. I know a lot of people that don't respect the religious opinions of others, and it's pretty unfortunate because their growth stops because they're not seeking anymore. And I think this life is supposed to be about growing all the time and learning and seeking new knowledge. Like, we have so much information at our fingertips and it's so easy to get to. But if you're stopping yourself from getting that new knowledge, you're setting yourself up to be the same forever, which, what's the fun in that, right? So it's really important to respect that. And then you have the option. So after you've decided, I'm going to respect their opinion, right? You then have the option to judge their opinion. Well, I respect their opinion because it's their opinion, even though it's the wrong opinion. You could take that perspective, or you could take the other perspective, which would be, I respect their opinion, and I wonder how they came to that belief. There's one that's more valuable to your growth, right? You can decide that you know everything and that you're right about everything and you no longer desire to learn. That's totally fine if that's what you believe, but that's the end of your growth. It's so difficult to learn solely from self. It's way more fun and beneficial to learn from others. Think about it. If there is somebody that's done the work and done the research on a topic, it's a lot more valuable to sit with them and talk to them about the basis of their research and the information they found and the fun little nuggets of information that they uncovered, as opposed to simply trying to research it on your own, which is also okay, but there's value in having those very deep discussions with others. And I'm not saying to go talk to everybody about religion, just using that as a topic because it's a very deep one. So it really reflects on you as far as what step you decide to take. If you decide to seek to understand, it sets you up to not only grow for yourself, but it also sets you up to kind of be a magnet to other people, because you're not placing yourself on a pedestal. You're not putting yourself above others in any way. You are respecting the differences that make us all special and beautiful souls. So you're putting yourself in a situation that allows you to be a desirable human being. And people are going to want to be around you because of the fact that you respect them and their opinions and their perspectives. And there's so much value in that. When you are in the space of having the ability to truly understand, you can also unite people. And it is so extremely beautiful. Imagine if Martin Luther King decided to simply judge everyone, right? And he wasn't able to go into these meetings with our political leaders because he was judgmental. Imagine the lack of impact that he would have made. He was put here to unite people, and he did that. Even if it was just by bringing awareness to an issue, he still did it from a perspective of love and mutual respect and understanding. Like, he was a promoter of peace and those, like, opening up those dialogues where people can have these discussions on a respectful level and learn about the perspective of others. So it's a completely different topic, but it's still the same concept. Like, if you ever encounter somebody that's just different from you and has a different perspective, I am a strong and firm supporter in the fact that if you approach that with a curious desire to understand and grow your knowledge, you are going to just get so much more out of the life experience. You are going to open yourself up to gaining so much knowledge and essentially also being somebody that brings people together and can empathize and be understanding with others. If you are in business, if you are a creative soul, if you do anything or create anything for other people, you must be empathetic and understanding to the perspectives of others, because that is what will make you great at creating things that are good for people, that work for people, that people can relate to. So having that ability and that skill is huge. And it also gives you an opportunity to live in the moment and be aware. So when you're sitting and listening to somebody, you can kind of gauge your feelings with regards to what they're saying. If somebody says something or is trying to explain something to you and it rubs you the wrong way, you might want to look at why. Well, what within me is it triggering, and why is that triggering based upon this conversation? And that gives you an even deeper opportunity to grow and further your life experience by growing and dealing with these things that are triggered by conversations and perspectives of others. It's huge. There's huge value, and the value is mostly to you. It helps you to be aware of your thoughts and pay attention to the signs that come with the conversation. If you're being triggered by a perspective that's just different than yours, why? What within you is upset? Like, why are you upset at the fact that somebody doesn't agree with you? And look at that in a very deep way and think about maybe the first time that somebody disagreed with you and see if there's trauma there. Go back, because you never know why you feel the way you feel, but being mindful and aware will help you to grow. And that's what we're all here to do, is to grow and to enjoy the life experience and fellowship with others and learn from these other souls that we get to encounter every single day. And there's just so much value in seeking to understand. That's it for now. As always, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you guys. I think this is episode 31, so we're making huge progress. I am so enjoying creating the content for the podcast. I'm working on improving it every single episode, so I'm trying to do things differently and do things better each and every time. So I appreciate you guys rocking with me from the beginning and staying on board and growing with me, and I'm just so thankful and appreciative that you are down to listen and down to learn and down to grow. Like, that's amazing. It gives me purpose for doing this podcast. So thank you. As always, follow me on IG, subscribe, rate, comment, like the podcast. We have the YouTube. I don't have any videos up yet, but that's coming soon. And share the episodes with your people. Like, it's all free right now, so share the episodes with your people. Share the podcast episodes through Apple Podcasts pretty easily. If you don't have Apple, then you can share them through the Podbean app or the link, and you can also tag your people on my Instagram, like previews, and that will give them kind of a snapshot of what the episode is about, but also loop them in and allow your friends to have a space to also learn and grow. And that's what it's all about, is us working together. So I thank you guys for being on this journey with me so much. I'm so appreciative. Until next time.